Welcome back to pregame.tv. We're going to take a look at UNLV at San Diego State. Bryan, we've got season tickets. We watch this UNLV team, and I got to tell you, I got to scratch my head when I watch them because I can't figure out for the life of me. There is loads of talent on this basketball team, but sometimes they just play like there's no continuity. When they come down the floor on offense too many times, I watch one guy dribbling the ball and four guys standing around watching them. There's no movement, cutting to the hoop, and then on defense, how many times have we sat there and, our seats are right behind the one backboard and backdoor cut after backdoor cut. I want to go down there and trip somebody.
Yeah, it's somewhat similar to what we talked about in the last video in the NBA about teams with new players coming in, and UNLV brought a lot of transfers in, and San Diego State also. They always bring in transfers. I mean, that's what Fisher does. But, yeah, it's been – you would think they got that streak going. I believe they won 7 in a row. And there were signs that they were starting to come together, starting to play well as a team. Then the Air Force game, I mean, it was interesting, some of the quotes after the Air Force game, some of the players said, well, we didn't practice the same way as we normally practice. That's because you're playing Air Force. That's the Air Force is a separate thing. It's sort of like in football when you got a team that plays the option. It's a different type of practice. And then when they came back against Reno, and it's a big rivalry. And interesting, some of the quotes were, out of the bigger name players on the team, that they asked them about Reno. They go, I don't know. I guess it's like 100 miles or something away. I guess they're supposed to be our rival. So even though the fans know this is a big rivalry, when you have so much turnover and a lot of transfers coming in, they don't have the same feeling on these games.
Going back to the Air Force game, not that it was excusable, but after the big winning streak, then come back home and play a team like Air Force. I can understand possibly if they were flat and looked past them because, they are a hard team to prepare for because of the way the style of offense, they run that Princeton-style offense. They frustrate the hell out of you trying to defend it. But there's no excuse for the effort that we got in the Reno game. Like you said, being a rivalry. And they were on the cusp of blowing Reno out of the building. There was like 3 minutes to go in the first half, and it was an 11-point game, and UNLV was on a run, and then it was like somebody closed the lid on the bucket. They didn't score any more points, and Reno just went, closed out the half on, I think a 9-2 run or 11-2 run, and then opened up the second half, just blew the game away. And the final score of that game, not even indicative of they were never in the game, pillar to post in the second half.
Yeah, anytime a lesser team is able to stay in the game, it builds up their confidence as the game goes on. And as you pointed out, going in, just a few minutes before halftime, it looked like UNLV was in control. Reno has that nice run. They go into the half. They're confident, and they came out and, give them all the credit in the world. They were the better team. They out-hustled UNLV in that game, and they outplayed UNLV in that game, and they wanted it more than UNLV did.
I don't want to pick on him because he's been getting a lot of heat, on the talk shows here. But Coach Rice, he's a great recruiter, okay? I'll give him that. But, man, when it comes to the end game, it's just like there's no adjustments being made. And I got to tell you, going to San Diego State, this is a team that even when UNLV had good teams the last couple of years, and this team's supposed to be decent, but not as good as what we've had in the last couple of years, San Diego State was a team that always frustrated UNLV. Whether they went there or came here, San Diego State always played them well. And Steve Fisher, I think, just plain out-coaches Rice every time.
Yeah, I can see that. And one of the good things about living here in Las Vegas, and we do a lot of radio and some guys do television, we know, not that we are at the practices, but a lot of our friends, a lot of our colleagues go there every day. And so we're able to have those conversations and see a guy in the sports book, what's going on with the Rebels, whatever. And they're able to give you an idea of what's going on. That's Ken's not here today, but that's the kind of information Ken gets off of his radio show. And just being able to talk to these guys and go over what happens behind the scenes is a big advantage for us. And when those guys are telling you certain things that you got to bring into question, you have to wonder how much longer that Rice is going to be here. Because as you point out, he's a great recruiter, a very nice guy. But there's things that you would assume that they would have done. He talked about what they were going to do that has just never happened all season long.
Well, you know what? We've danced around this one. This is your free play. Let's make it official.
All right, we're taping this on Wednesday. Obviously, both of these teams are playing Wednesday night, so it's a little bit harder to handicap the Saturday card here. And we've talked about all the deficiencies, all the things that were wrong with the Rebels. I happen to think the Rebels are in a good situation here. They're playing a San Diego State team that plays very much like they do. San Diego State does not have the shooters that are going to blow you out of the building. They beat you by playing defense, getting out on the fast break. That's what UNLV wants to do. They've got athletes on that team. So you see these two teams every year. They seem to recruit the same type of players. So you always see a lot of tight games between these two teams. And Marco's right. Fisher's going to outcoach Rice. There's no doubt in my mind here. But based on the way these two teams have played, all the value, in my opinion, happens to be on UNLV. You know, the Rebels have gotten off to a terrible start here in the conference play. San Diego State 15-1 coming into this Wednesday game, winning on the road at Kansas. They know they're going to the tournament. They know they're the team to beat in this conference. UNLV does not have a quality win over a good opponent all season long. Arizona State, they let that one slip away. They let the game slip away against Illinois. But, you know, to their credit, on the road, they have played much better than they have at home. You know, they took Arizona down to the wire in Arizona. That was a major surprise to everybody. And after that point, they won 7 straight games. So I think the Air Force game threw them off a little bit. And then the Nevada game coming back, obviously Nevada wanted that game a lot more than the Rebels did. But now I think the value is on the Rebels here. And I'll take the points here with the Rebels in a game that is going to play very much to what they want to play, because they're not a half-court shooting team. They're going to get up and down the court. I think they can play this game much closer than the lines maker does, and I think the Rebels are going to have a decent chance to win this game.
Okay, being that we did it on Wednesday, like you said, I didn't do anything on the Wednesday night game. I wasn't involved in it, but I will tell you this much. I'm going to use it as a barometer. I think the best thing that can happen for UNLV, the way they are struggling and the way the media is beating them up around town right now, is to get away, get out of town, go on the road. I've always said that. A team that's struggling, sometimes the best thing is to go on the road. If we see a good effort out of UNLV tonight on the road, I think that, you know, solidifies the buy sign for Saturday as well.
And it's interesting, not from my own client standpoint, but from my own standpoint. I played San Diego State tonight, and then I also played the Rebels on Wednesday. So I want them both to play really well tonight. See what happens come Saturday.
All right. Well, there you have it. Bryan says to take the Runnin Rebels plus the points on Saturday. Expects a tight ball game, and the history's shown that they have. So go ahead and take UNLV plus the points from Bryan Leonard. We're going to come back. We've got one more video. We're going to do an NFL game, playoff style. Round 3, Seattle, San Francisco. That's up next. Pregame.tv.